let's just say mistakes were made. Eddie Hearn continues to reveal some very pertinent things about Devin Haney fighting Ryan Garcia. You're not going to believe some of what was said. I will try my best to let you know what was said and give my thoughts surrounding it. Now, Eddie Hearn, boxing promoter, he's worked several fights with Devin Haney. Surprisingly, he did an interview with All the Smoke Fight, which is a podcast, and he was being interviewed by Andre Ward. In this particular interview, he said some interesting things about what went wrong and what went on for Haney versus Garcia. And I got to share it to you. Surprisingly, I don't see nobody else talking about this. Leave it to Boxing Ego to give y'all that real. Again, there's a lot of people, they want to be like Boxing Ego. I popularized this digital age boxing coverage industry, but they're not like me. A lot of clickbait, low resolution, low quality pictures and audio. It's like people are rushing out content, just hoping you'll click on it. And then don't get me started on the boxing knowledge, or should I say lack thereof. On my channel, I'll let you know what's going on. This is your one-stop shop for all your boxing needs. So without further ado, let's get into it and hear what Eddie Hearn had to say. Roll the clip.
Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia. How did that fight get made, and what was your involvement?
So I did a one-fight deal with Devin. I mean, I had Devin from the early stage of his career. Good kid, very loyal. Got to a stage where he won the world title with us. We were chasing Undisputed, chasing a George Kambosos fight. Lou DiBella signed Kambosos, got some money, wanted to freeze me out with Bob. And basically, I couldn't make the fight for Undisputed. And the only way Devin could do it was to sign a 3-fight deal with Top Rank to do it.
Oh.
And it was a horrible time because 90% of fighters, 95% of fighters wouldn't have even phoned me. They would have just gone, sorry, Eddie, bye. Do you know what I mean? Because my contract was up with him.
Okay.
And he phoned me, he said, look, can you make this fight? I want to. We always said to each other, we're going to do Undisputed together. That was like our little thing. Yeah. And he's like, Bill was probably just saying, sign it, but that's fine. I understand it. But Devin was really loyal to us and good. And in the end, I said to him, mate, you got to do it. I can't deliver you the fight. And you have to take this fight.
Okay.
So
I want you to pay attention because I'm letting you hear it uncensored and then we'll review it together. But I need you to pay attention to how he just said Devin was loyal to us. Devin was really loyal. Devin was loyal. Devin phoned me. I told him to take the deal with Top Rank because I can't deliver you the fight. Now listen to what he says after proclaiming, and I want you to pay attention to that Devin Haney was very loyal, whereas other fighters would have just been like, found the deal, took the deal, and then they're not worried about their older promoter, what they have to say. Like Shakur Stevenson, I'm pretty sure he didn't put in a courtesy call when he signed with Eddie Hearn for 2 fights. He didn't do a courtesy call to Top Rank because it looks like they fell out. Shakur Stevenson, he's just worried about the future and his current situation. And he's not going to call Bob Arum to let him know, hey, this is the move. This is who we decided to go with. He's a free agent. He can move how he wants. So Eddie Hearn's right. But after saying how loyal Devin was, listen to what Eddie Hearn has to say. Play it.
Took his 3-fight deal, finished there, came back to us. We just said we'd go fight by fight. He fought Regis in San Francisco. Yeah. And then Oscar offered him the fight to fight Ryan. We came in, we helped him, we were part of the team. He looked after us as well. And yeah, I think there were a lot of mistakes in that fight. We weren't across it like we would have been if we were part of his team.
The business side.
Yeah, I think so.
it seemed from the outside looking in that the negotiations went pretty quick. Was it a tough negotiation or was it
No,
easy?
I mean, both guys, you talk about minimums, both guys rolled the dice on the numbers
Okay.
with no minimums, you know, because they saw Garcia tank and saw the numbers and presumed it would replicate a similar model.
Did you think it would?
No. And I told him that, you know, I said, this is what you'll make for the fight. And he said, no, I'll make this. And actually what he made was exactly what I said he would make. And, you know, there were mistakes in the fight. There were mistakes around the weigh-in. There were mistakes, you know, I think around the preparation. I mean, you know, I respect Devin. I like the kid a lot, you know, but sometimes I think you know this as well. Like you can lose your direction a little bit in terms of you think now you're that big that you know all the right decisions to make. And, you know, when I go in and sit in that changing room and I see 30 people in there screaming and shouting, you know, and he's putting on his essentials boots that he's had specially made for him and it takes him 20 minutes to get them on and you've got 4 different trainers and, you know, I'm sort of, it's only after the fact. It's always after defeat when you make the change, isn't it? You know, it's never, when you're winning, you never look and go, actually, it's getting a bit crazy in here. I don't think this is, you know, because you're winning.
I like to say that winning covers a multitude of sins.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things that should be fixed, but the winning, you just cover it up and you keep moving.
But I think the hardest thing for Devin in that fight was what Ryan was doing.
Let me go back to the weight. Ryan came in 3 pounds over. I heard he came in, he showed up the week of the fight 15 pounds over. Don't know if you guys heard that, but I know he had some weight issues. And Ryan said that Floyd Mayweather told him not to get that 3 pounds off.
Do you believe that?
Let's get ready to ask you that.
I mean, you probably know Floyd. I bet. I wouldn't have thought so. But at that point, for the launch press conference, I met a Ryan Garcia that changed so much from the Ryan Garcia that I knew. And I don't know him that well, but I've met him a few times. Very nice guy, you know, very, you know, polite, you know, great looking kid, like fresh face. And then I saw this kid at the launch press conference. This is like 8 weeks before the fight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the f*** has happened to Ryan Garcia? Like, that was 8 weeks out. Yeah. It got so much worse you know, to the point where at the press conference on the Thursday and the weigh-in, I'm actually looking at him going, like, 1, I can't believe he's even in this fight. 2, I can't believe people are letting him fight. And 3, is this for real or is it an act? Right? Because I think, and you know, I had an argument with
Eddie Hearn is cooking. So let's talk about it, man. I tell y'all all the time on the channel, your boy Ego, stay on the front lines. You guys say I'm wrong. I tell you I'm the best in the business, and it's not even close. And once again, here we are. So get ready for the truth. Eddie Hearn was absolutely cooking, and I think he brought up a lot of very important things. So let's get into those important things. I put on Twitter, you guys can follow if you need the direct quote. So I played it for you guys, heard it. Link will be in the description. Shout out to All the Smoke fight. But let's go into what he said. He says, both guys, Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, rolled the dice on the numbers with no minimums. Do you know what this means? Because I know some people, they're like, what's so funny, Ego? Please tell me. Both guys rolled the dice on the numbers with no minimums. So I know you guys know what the word minimum means. The minimum means like the least amount. So like, let's say if you have a minimum, let's say 4 or 5, let's say Canelo versus Berlanga. And there's different deal structures. And I don't want to complicate this too much in boxing. But in boxing, there's different deal structures. You can do a deal where it's like, well, first of all, certain fights are pay-per-view, certain fights aren't pay-per-view. But if it is a pay-per-view fight, if both fighters command a heavy and big purse, then sometimes what they'll do is, in order to make the fight, you bank on the success of the pay-per-view sales. So both fighters take less money up front, and then you're basically rolling the dice and betting and hoping that the numbers on the back end make sense, to the point, like basically it be a big fight, so big to the point where you sold a lot of pay-per-views, you had a big live gate, it was a big successful event, and everybody eats. The downside with this type of deal in boxing is Haney versus Garcia, which is what I told you. Remember when Boxing Ego, before the fight, said this fight was a show? Eddie Hearn, towards the end of the clip I let you listen to, he says Ryan Garcia changed a lot over the course of 8 weeks. He's like, I don't know if this is an act, if he's deranged. I don't know what's going on with him, but I met him in passing. He was nice, he was kind, he was polite. I don't know. Remember when Boxing Ego kept telling, and I was doing all these videos, and I was like, Ryan Garcia is effectively unselling the fight, because if there's a boxing fight, it's an $80 pay-per-view or whatever, and you want people to commit to that, but then people don't even know if you're being serious or taking the fight serious. Many people believe that Ryan Garcia would pull out of the fight, wasn't going to show up and make it to the fight night. Many people felt even if he did, he would put up a bad performance, because he said he was drinking, he was smoking, he had pictures of a bleeze in his mouth, and he said he was some fighters choose abstinence in fight camp, so they refrain from being with their partners, their wives, their girlfriends, blah blah blah. Ryan was saying he doesn't care about that. Some guys can drink tequila and then capture the knockout. So Ryan Garcia effectively was unselling the fight. He seemed very unserious. Didn't seem like he was zoned in. So people didn't know what to expect. So that becomes a big, big ask when you're expecting people to pay top dollar, with piracy and things like that. And then you don't even know if one of the persons involved is going to show up or give it his all, right? I also mentioned before the fight that you got to keep in mind the Haney Garcia was on Golden Boy, and they had an abysmal, a very horrible undercard. So again, you're looking at the full pay-per-view package. You don't have any desired fights on the undercard. So with Ryan acting weird and a horrible undercard, that doesn't really make for exceptional pay-per-view sales. Where you got the main event, okay, people are interested in the main event when it first got announced, but instead of hyping up the fight, instead of evolving the fight, it's de-evolution because of how Ryan was acting. And then Devin Haney, he's not this charismatic showman like that, good fighter, but that's not really his angle. So he was just letting Ryan act a fool and wasn't really saying much. He was kind of just in training camp. So I told you it was a circus. I told you it was a show, and that's what it is. Now we find out through Devin Haney's, the guy he brought on, which we'll talk about more, Eddie Hearn, they did all of this with no minimums. Crazy. Again, what no minimums means is they had no minimum guarantee. Like, hey, win, lose, or draw, Devin, you're making $8 million. Ryan Garcia, win, lose, or draw, no matter what, if you show up and compete, then you're going to make $20 million or whatever the number is. So he said both guys rolled the dice. Rolled the dice means to gamble, right? They rolled the dice on the numbers and they crapped out. So they rolled the dice on the numbers with no minimums. They saw, pay attention to what Eddie Hearn just said. They saw Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta Tank Davis and presumed it would replicate a similar model. Andre Ward questions after he said that. He says, Eddie, did you think it would basically do similar numbers to Tank and Ryan Garcia, which happened the previous year in 2023? Eddie Hearn replies, no, and I told Devin Haney that. I said, this is what you will make for this fight. And Devin Haney said, no, 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 no. He said, no, 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 like he Destiny's Child. Eddie Hearn says, this is what I said you'll make for the fight. Devin Haney said, no, 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 I'll make this. And actually, what he made was exactly what I said he would make. Oh, it's ugly. Now you see why all the content creators, all the Haney-act channels, they're not talking about this. Notice a pattern. The Haney-acts never talk about anything real. They just glaze over it. I've been busy. I was in Napa. I was in Sonoma. I went to see The Crow. I went to see that Blink twice. You know, your boy Ego was eating good. I didn't get a chance to listen to this interview. And suddenly, when Boxing Ego make the video, watch other people will start talking about it. But I'm actually late to the party because your boy Ego was in Napa and Sonoma, and I was just chilling, you know, enjoying my life. So I'm actually late. This video was uploaded a week ago or whatever, and I'm just now getting to it. But notice the Haney-acts, this content has been out. It's been available. It's been released in full. Notice the Haney-acts, they refuse to even talk about it. And this is obviously important. It's not much crazy boxing news in the news cycle. This is pretty big. Eddie Hearn is telling you that they fought with no minimums because they thought that this fight would do similar or similarly to Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia's fight. So this shows me pure delusion that you thought that, because to have that, you would have to be Gervonta Davis. The reason Gervonta and Ryan sold is Ryan was undefeated and he had his brand, and Tank is undefeated and he has a crazy following. So that's what made it a big fight. You guys keep hating on Gervonta Davis. Content creators, YouTubers, TikTokers, Instagram people, they tried to say that Tank and Ryan Garcia only sold because of Ryan Garcia. This is what they say in the comment sections. But if that was the case, then how come, if it was all Ryan, how come this fight with Devin Haney, also an undefeated American fighter and talented fighter, how come it didn't do similar numbers? Also, fast forward to the future, you have Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, who publicly, they came out and publicly stated that they haven't been paid in full from Golden Boy Promotions. Right? That's what they alleged. De La Hoya's already responded to that. He says, Devin, you're pathetic. You get dropped by Ryan and no explanation for the left hook? It's pathetic. Bro, De La Hoya, I'm so sorry. De La Hoya already responded to this, and he says, you are welcome to audit my company. You've been paid out. Golden Boy also released a press release. I've already made videos about all these topics. It's up to you to hit the subscribe button and pay attention. The content's up. You guys can find those videos on my page. Golden Boy already responded the same day that Devin and Ryan said they haven't been paid in full. Golden Boy basically stated, if you guys spent more time looking at your contract as opposed to being on social media, then you wouldn't be saying this. De La Hoya's also taken additional shots at Devin Haney, and he's stated, audit my company if you want. You've been paid all the money that you're owed at this point in time. So now it's starting to make a lot of sense. The reason why Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney probably feel they haven't been paid is because they expected more. You know, you see those memes where it says expectations versus reality. Like, you try to get a Michael Myers authentic Halloween mask and you order it from Temu, you order it from Wish, and then you put the mask on and you look like a doofus, right? Same concept. Expectations versus reality. You have expectations, like some people meet a celebrity and they have expectations because they've never met the celebrity. So they think, oh, Sydney Sweeney or whoever is a nice person. And then you meet her and then maybe she's rude. expectations versus reality. So now everything is clicking like the Wizard of Oz when she had the shoes. Click, click. Everything is clicking. It's making a lot more sense why Ryan and Devin probably feel that they haven't been paid in full because they expected similar numbers or a similar pay scale to the Tank Davis fight. Now, another thing that I find funny, see, there's a lot of people that want to be like Boxing Ego, but they're not quite ego. My memory is crazy. My memory is tough. So the other thing that is now questionable is, remember when that graphic came out and it suggested that Ryan Garcia made $50 million and Devin Haney made $35 million, right? So this graphic was posted online stating that these were the purses for Haney Garcia, right? Listen, hear me out. I want y'all to pay attention. It says Ryan made $50 million and Devin made $35 million, right? So that graphic came out. Devin Haney says, if you think I made $35 million, think again, think bigger, BITCH, Devin Haney, on how much he made versus Ryan Garcia. So you guys can see that. So somebody got to be lying, because how did you make $50 million for Ryan and Devin made $35 million allegedly, but then you're complaining if you truly made this much? And then Devin was trying to flex on social media and he said, think bigger, Beezy, you Beezy. So he's saying he made more than $35 million. Then why are you complaining, saying that Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, why are they complaining, saying that they didn't get paid in full? Make that make sense. And then now a person that Devin Haney has been loyal to and brought along for this fight and is a promoter and in the business of boxing, he says they fought with no minimums. So this was an $85 million fight with two West Coast people fighting in the East Coast, right? So that was already weird, because it was, at best, you should have put it in the West Coast where the guys are from, right? Devin was trying to flex, saying he made over $35 million, but then both fighters thereafter were crying to Golden Boy, saying they didn't get paid in full. And now we find out that they didn't even have a minimum guarantee. So the numbers ain't numbering. It looks very shaky, if you will. And again, leave it to Boxing Ego to spill the truth. If Ryan made $50 million, why would he be complaining? If he made $50 million, that's more than what he reportedly made, or just about the same as what he reportedly made from Gervonta Davis. So why would he be saying publicly, I ain't been paid, where's my money in full? Same thing with Devin Haney. Why would Devin Haney be saying, think bigger, itch? And then now they're saying they didn't get their money. And then Eddie Hearn's telling you that they didn't even have minimums in place. So the pay-per-view numbers never even came out. So we don't even know exactly what the number was. But I've already told you, the fight was a show. Ryan was acting crazy. People didn't know if he could be trusted. It turned out to be a good fight. Not even a good fight. It was like more of a good, it was more drama filled, you know what I mean? With the knockdowns and things like that. And it was more unexpected for a lot of people. And remember, Boxing Ego was saying this is a bad fight for Devin Haney. You guys will see after the fight how it all plays out. And now the person that Devin Haney's been loyal to in terms of Eddie Hearn, he's throwing Devin under the bus. He's throwing Devin under the bus and saying, like, they rolled the dice trying to compete with Tank Davis, which is what I said from the beginning. You thought your celebrity was anywhere near what Tank is. And even Ryan, Tank was smart. He fought Ryan before he imploded. He fought Ryan when he was undefeated. So it made the most sense. That's why I told you this Haney Garcia, people were overinflating it and overestimating the popularity of this fight. Legit, Ryan lost every round to Tank. That's a fact. He got dropped. And then most people believe he quit in the fight. He was only one fight removed the Oscar Duarte fight, which was really a 35-pounder that he brought up to a catchweight. One fight removed from a fight where you quit. And then Devin, his star power is not what Tank's is, and we know this. And then you guys thought one fight removed from a quit, stoppage, loss, and no longer being undefeated, that Ryan Garcia Haney was going to be this big affair. And I never understood that. And then now Eddie Hearn spilling the beans with Andre Ward, saying mistakes were made. He's saying Devin has this huge entourage. Another thing that Boxing Ego said, you have this big entourage of 30 people in your locker room. You have these essentials boots and take you 20 minutes to get on. Everybody's cheering and throwing salami around and, all this extra stuff. And then now, once you lose, you see like, man, maybe I was basically what Eddie Hearn said, and I let you listen to it, but my interpretation is Devin Haney started feeling himself too much. He got too big for his britches, and he got ahead of himself. And when you get like that, sometimes people can't reason with you. So if you listen, because some people are going to be like, I don't believe Eddie Hearn, whatever. But the story actually makes sense with Eddie Hearn's input to what you do know. Like, this would explain why Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney feels like they haven't been paid in full, because they expected to make more. They thought them fighting each other in 2024, April 20th, would be bigger, and it would be this huge, colossal event. And then when they looked at their paycheck, and it's probably not too much greater than some other fights that they've had, they're probably like, hey, something's wrong. But Oscar said, audit my company. It doesn't have to be that something's wrong. You likely overshot it. It's like the Kevin Hart movie, The Borderlands, based on the video game. The budget was $100 million or whatever, and it performed poorly. It's going to be on streaming like weeks after it's released. They're already taking it out of theaters. It flopped. That's what Haney versus Garcia is, that new Borderlands movie. You can have your best intentions and, oh man, we get Kevin Hart and based on a video game and blah, 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 and spend $100 million. And it sounds good in theory. You release it and the public doesn't resonate with the movie, and then it'll be on stream next month with this huge, colossal loss. This was very easy for Ego Stradamus to predict. Everything I said came true. I told you it was a show. I told you they should have actually waited, build Ryan back up so he proved to be relevant, maybe get a belt, fight Pitbull Cruz or something, get your stock back up after losing to Tank Davis, let Devin do what he was doing, things like that. But they rushed it. And Eddie Hearn talked about this a bit in the clip that I played. He's basically saying sometimes fighters get to a point where you can't tell them anything. They think they know it all. Why would Eddie Hearn be saying, you're going to make X, Y, and Z if you fight Ryan Garcia with this deal you have? Why would Devin Haney be sounding like Destiny's Child and saying, no, 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 no? Like, Devin Haney has less experience putting on fights, of course, than Eddie Hearn, who was around boxing before Devin was even born because of his dad, right? So you don't have to like everything Eddie Hearn says or does. However, he is a promoter. He has put on a lot of events. He's worked in different regions and territories. And Eddie Hearn says, actually, what Devin made was exactly what I said he would make. So, more accurate reporting from Boxing Ego that the Haniacs don't want to talk about. The bottom line is you overshot it. You thought you were Tank. You were chasing Tank. You thought that you and Ryan had the star power to be West Coast fighters and fight on the East Coast on a bunk undercard and do a lot of pay-per-view sales. And then when that reality didn't meet your expectation, now the fighters are saying that they haven't been paid in full and Golden Boy still owes them money. But why? Ask yourself these questions, because Devin Haney just said it. Oscar did a clapback Wednesday or Thursday, he did it. and released it. Devin Haney, and I've already made videos about it, which is why you guys got to subscribe. Devin Haney tweeted something to the effect of, I wish Oscar would clap back at my money, like basically pay me. Why would someone keep pandering to social media about their money if you had a contract that was voided or breached in some way? Why wouldn't you be not saying anything on social media, but suing? You're a multi-millionaire. If somebody doesn't have your money, why not sue them and go get your money? Nate Diaz said he didn't get paid per contract for the Jorge Masvidal fight. It was like a day or two later, he's suing them because Nate Diaz from NorCal, Stockton to be exact, he bought his bread. Y'all said y'all was going to give me $10 million or whatever it was. I don't have the $10 million. And immediately his team motioned and they're suing the FanMio or whatever. Look it up. So again, you would have to ask yourself, if you're a Haney'ac, why would Devin Haney not be doing the same? Why are you going on social media for sympathy and saying, oh, Oscar needs to give me my money and putting out tweets? Put out that paperwork. Put out that complaint. Put out that lawsuit. Period. Sue Golden Boy. So if we don't see Devin Haney versus Golden Boy, the lawsuit, sometime very soon, then I'm definitely believing that Golden Boy adhered to the contract, because just think about it. It doesn't make any sense. If you're a celebrity boxer and then you didn't get paid what you were signed on and what they had in the contract, why would you just let that go? We're talking about millions of dollars. If De La Hoya and Golden Boy skimmed you, why wouldn't you be suing them? So I don't think this is actually a valid lawsuit until otherwise proven. Prove me wrong. Sue Golden Boy. No one's just going to let millions of dollars and just let that slide. Like, oh, Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy owe me X, Y, and Z money, but I'm just going to let it slide because I don't care about my millions. And the fight itself wasn't, just hear me out. The fight itself didn't benefit your career because Ryan's left hook was blazing Devin Haney. So it didn't help you there. So at least you would want your money to be right, because you didn't gain probably new fans from this whole Ryan Garcia ordeal and how it played out, and dancing at the bowling alley when he got suspended and going to ESPN saying no rematch. So it didn't really help you in that department. So I know for a fact that if you didn't get helped career-wise by taking this fight, probably 10 out of 10 people would want their money to at least be right. Could at least get me paid what you said you were going to pay me. So I don't think there's a discrepancy here. And I think Eddie Hearn dropped a bombshell by saying that they rolled the dice on the numbers with no minimums. So it shows to me the ineptitude of Devin Haney and his team. Eddie Hearn said it in the interview, like, if we were brought on as a real promoter, you know, some of the things would have been different. But a lot of you guys were praising Bill Haney, saying he's father and trainer and manager of the year. But this looks like rookie night. This looked like open mic night. Why would you put your son with Golden Boy, knowing they can't put on an amazing undercard? Like, when's the last time they did a pay-per-view with an amazing undercard, right? Put two West Coast people on the East Coast. The Golden Boy fighter was tripping out, acting like he was on something, to the point where people didn't think they were going to show up and all this stuff. And then now Eddie Hearn reveals who's part of your side and brought on your side. You had no rehydration clause, no rematch clause, and now we find out you had no minimum. I'm done. Don't ever tell me I don't know boxing. Boxing Ego, best in the business, and it's not even close.